The night that changed my life happened unexpectedly. I was in New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina, and I was photographing people and asking them why they loved it so much. They would honor that by writing a little message on their skin about their city. But then one night, a man asked me to do something different, and I said sure. And then he came back into my frame, and his wife uncovered his bare chest, revealing the words cancer-free. It was that night that I realized the ingredients of a marker, a camera, and a short, meaningful message was nothing short of magical. And since then, we've heard accounts from Dear World participants about babies' first words and grandparents' last, mentors' life-changing advice, and heroes' life-saving decisions. We've heard inside jokes that'll make your cheeks hurt, and tales of midnight capers that ended in lifelong groundings. We've heard stories of people confronting their biggest fears or celebrating their team's incredible wins. And sometimes when people ask us, is my story worth sharing? We respond, everyone has a story worth sharing. If it has meaning to you, it has meaning to us.
Please welcome Robert X Fogarty.
Hey, y'all. Hey, I was backstage. How about Beth's speech? Can we give it up for Beth one more time? That was fire. Y'all, wow. I was like, it's getting these chills, these butterflies. Thank you, Denise and John, for that wonderful introduction. And to all of you, what a pleasure it is to be here with you today. I am Robert Fogarty. I'm the founder of Dear World. And I want to take you to the hills of Western Nepal for the first story I tell today. And it's there that I meet this guy. And everyone in the village says that he's like 90 or so. But I'm there and I ask my interpreter, hey, like, how old is he? And he asks him and he pauses and he comes back to my interpreter. He says, I think I'm 50. And, you know, when I think about him, and I think about all of us here today, you know, life is just a perception of how we see it. And how wonderful could we go through life and gather again and move through with that idea of, my life is happy till the end, y'all. And I know that you and each and every one of you have seen difficult things, and you've seen glorious things. So I just wanted to start out with my guy from the hills of Western Nepal. My life is happy until the end. And how happy it is that we get to be here today. Many of you may not know this, but Dear World was contracted in 2020 to do the event at AACN. And of course, things didn't work out. And we're here today. So 3 years in the making, I get to be here with you and spend about 25 minutes or so sharing some stories and getting you into what I hope is a very important part of your experience this week, which is taking your own Dear World photo. So, but before that, we're going to go over a few more things of what we're going to do today. I'm just going to share some people that I've met along the way. I am going to let you listen and connect to others, and we're going to prepare you to take your own Dear World portrait. So we have stations set up in the exhibit hall and on the third floor all week. So super excited to be here, y'all. But I do want to share with you a few of my favorite portraits from the last 10 years. You know, this project started in New Orleans, as you heard, about a decade ago, and more than 150,000 people have contributed. And as you watch these roll by, they are incredible photos from the last decade. I just want you to think, if the person that you see on the screen was sitting to the left or the right of you, would you want to ask them why they wrote what they wrote? Now, oh yeah, I'll take all the applause as I can get, y'all. Thank you. Now, there's probably a few in the room who are like, let me at them. I love these photos. Where's the booth? And there's probably another camp of people in here who are like, yo, I ground my kids for riding on them. I don't think I'm going to be into this. How many in the camp of like, I don't do this touchy-feely stuff? You can raise your hands. It's okay. I love it. I see you. What's your name up there in the front? Thank you. What's up, Heather? I cannot wait until you take your photo this week. No, it's true. We have a lot of folks, but I really believe in the power in what Beth was talking about and Megan was talking about earlier, of this idea of this being the space in between for you. And I do hope that Dear World might be something that gives you some comfort to share your story too. The marker does wipe off. Don't worry about that. It's also really cool. You can't ride on yourself. So you're going to come probably with a partner or a friend. You get to hear each other's stories. I before E, except after C, though. If you misspell your partner's message, they get a little upset about that. So I do want to share on a serious note. You know, y'all are a serious bunch and have seen a lot. And you know, when the gig got canceled in 2020, Jennifer Bidding from AACN, the executive producer of this event with us, and you know, and some other folks at AACN and my team said, well, you know, if we can't do the event, what if we, you know, just photograph nurses in the field? And this was in March of 2020, April, and with some incredible partners down in New Orleans from Ochsner and Tulane and LSU and Turo. We got our New Orleans people in the crowd. Well, let's go, New Orleans. You know, our New Orleans people came through, y'all. And I got to spend a week with more than 40 critical care nurses in May of 2020. And got to photograph them and listen to their stories. It was really some of the best work that we've ever done. And so I just want to share with you some of the portraits from our series down in New Orleans with members of this community that we took in May of 2020. It was a week, and I know that y'all have been in it for more than 2 years now, but that week really taught me a lot about nurses and the grace and the compassion you have for people. And I just want to share one nurse in particular who made an impact on my life, and that is not to say that all 40 didn't, but this is Gage. She's down in New Orleans, and I wrote a little something for her, and she said it was okay to read it to y'all. So I wrote this for Katie, but she said, yeah, go ahead and read it to the community here today. So here it goes, y'all. It's the height of the pandemic. New Orleans is in the news as the newest hot spot. The fear is real. You walk into the room, we're on opposite sides of the table, and even still, I can feel your compassion. You're not afraid to teach me what death looks like, what it really looks like. It's not pretty, you say. Have you ever heard of a death rattle? You're seeing more death than you can handle as a nurse, and you're not sure that you can handle it. But you persist, telling me that this is someone's person. And as long as there are nurses, no one is going to die alone. After they die, you tell me what the process is to help them transition to the other side. I wash their faces, I put chapstick on their lips, I change their gowns. And I do it because it shouldn't matter whether they're family here or not. They're human beings and they deserve to be taken care of. The protocols in the hospital are strict, and as I walk into the photo room with you, I get emotional. I've interviewed more than 20 nurses now over 3 days, and I don't think I can keep it together anymore. Maybe it's the grace and compassion in your voice. Maybe it is my exhaustion. But as I watch you sit for your portrait, I begin to cry. After you've finished and we stand separated and crying for what seems like forever, in any other moment in history, there's no hesitation. Humans console each other. But here we hesitate. 6 feet, 6 feet, 6 feet. But we're in a closed room, just you, my photographer, and me. F it. I'll never forget our hug. Thanks, y'all, for letting me share that. So I want to transition a little bit into your stories now and what we're going to be doing here this week. I'm really excited. I will be back on Wednesday morning, and there's 3 of you in the crowd right now who did not fly to Houston thinking you're going to be standing here on this stage sharing your story. But on Wednesday morning, we're going to have 3 people that I find in the photo areas to come up and share their story. And we're also going to play a video and a slideshow of some of the work we created. So that'll be Wednesday morning. But first, to get there, I just want to spend a little time with us and reflecting on our lives. Does that sound okay? All right, cool. You can get your phones out, or if you're analog like me, if you got a notebook or a paper, we're just going to do a little reflection. And your theme this year is so cool, y'all, rooted in strength. And so I was thinking about rooted in strength, and this was my paper and notebook. And so I have New Orleans, of course, rooted in strength. Carolyn is my sister-in-law. Friendships that last multiple decades. You know, I have a friend in Houston who I've been friends with since 5 years old, since kindergarten. We're having dinner tomorrow. Katie and our hug. Consistency, hope, and discipline. So this is what came up for me when I thought about rooted in strength. I like to say in these 3 minutes, there are no wrong answers, right? If your pen is moving or your thumbs are typing, you're doing it right. So take this as your first call to action on the space in between response, as Frankel said, that this is your time to fill your cup, to reflect. 3 minutes. Go ahead. No right or wrong answers. Awesome work, y'all. No right or wrong answers. Doesn't need to be about nursing either. Great work. All right, Dale, I think we can close the music down. Awesome. You guys probably know why I'm in the crowd, huh? Everyone who's like not looking at me is who I'm going to try and find. Would anybody in this row be willing to just share out what came up for them? All the people darting away. Awesome. Will you stand up for us? Can we hand this mic over? Test, test, test. We can hand it to you. Hey, Lori, will you just tell us a little bit about yourself? Like, what's your name and where you come from?
My name's Lori Louvier, and I'm an ICU nurse from Lafayette, Louisiana. 34 years critical care this month, and I'm so excited to be here.
Let's go, Lori. So, Lori, I'm going to do a couple of these, so you don't need to share your whole list, but maybe a couple of the highlights that came up for you.
I'm not ashamed to say. So during the pandemic, I'm a Christian, and I also printed up this Psalm 91 prayer that I posted on all of the patients' doors. And if you don't know it, look it up. It talks about the deadly pestilence. I was frontline from day one. It's the first patient to hit the ICU. Never got COVID, got vaccinated. I was real nervous. My daughter was a nursing student at the time and also working at the COVID unit at another hospital, so I was worried about the nurses protecting her. Scared because I lost my only child, my son, 7 years ago in an accident, so you can understand how afraid I was that I would get COVID, that my daughter would get COVID, and how that would devastate my family. So I wrote down, this is not my forever home, I'm just passing through. Psalm 91, my hope is in Jesus. And the others I put grieving with a broken heart, Mom.
Oh, Lori, thank you so much. Appreciate it. See, Lori, thank you for getting us going, too. Listen, the Louisianans stick together. I love it. All right, how about anyone else over here? Oh, I got some hands. I saw her hand first. What's your name?
Hi, I'm Hildy Shell-Chapel.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, too. I love that.
I'm a critical care clinical nurse specialist of 25 years, and I'm from UCSF in San Francisco, California.
Awesome. What's on your list?
Respect, wisdom, I am woman, I am a nurse.
Woo! I love it. I love the different ways we take this. What was your name again? Hildy. Thank you, Hildy. I think we should do one more, huh? What y'all think? All right, I saw your hand. I saw your hand right here. And then I'll get back on stage. Can you pass this back to her? Just stand up for us too, yeah?
Okay. Well,
What's your name?
I'm Linda Thomas. I'm from Silva, North Carolina.
Okay, Linda.
And
Yeah, listen.
got some North
Tar Heels.
Carolinians back here. Okay. What I wrote was, life changes everything, but how we react to it makes you who you are. And I am who I am, and I'm proud of it. And I'm not changing because it's easier to do it some other way. And I am who I am, and I will always be me, a nurse.
Woo-hoo. It's Linda, right? Linda, thank you. Y'all can give all three of our sharers a round of applause. That was pretty cool. Thank y'all. Okay. Don't trip now. Don't trip now. All right, I don't need this mic, Chris, right? Double mics. Okay, so today and tomorrow, would love for you to come by and take your photo. And one thing I think is important, and that I ask everyone, is you have a lot of stuff on your list. So I'd like for you right now to actually circle just one idea on your list. And the reason I'm asking you to do that is it helps you kind of define in a little bit more where you might want your story to go. Now, we're not going to be asking everyone your story. A few people might be like, oh my gosh, do I have to get on camera or do I have to do this? No, but you're going to be with partners and people around. So I want you to circle one concept on your list and kind of dial in to that one idea. And that way you're not kind of just sharing out your whole list all weekend. You're kind of dialing in on the thing that's calling out to you now. Does that sound okay? Just making a little decision for you. All stories have morals, values, or themes. If you just circle the one that you want to kind of explore more deeply with your Dear World message, it'll go a long way. I love this question, too, of why did you write that? Like Katie, Gage, I washed their faces. I thought that was an incredible message. So I love messages when you come up that evoke curiosity in others. And my hope is that if you spend time around the photo area or you keep it on, a lot of people just roll with it on all conference, that it is kind of an invitation for others to say, hey, why did you write, I took the chicken out of the freezer? Or why did you write, I washed their faces? So there's these kind of invitations in our photographs as well. So does that make sense? Awesome, y'all. I love the invitation inward. For my photographer team, we'll have things that will help them out too. The way you pose. I love this one. I wrote a paper about you, kind of one in the foreground and one in the back. I wrote a paper about you. You can imagine that is to someone. I love the ones that are personal tributes to others. I really like this one, this evocative action. I may cry today, but will roar tomorrow. Here's my guy. This is Jamshed. I took the chicken out of the freezer. I'd like to point out here too, super important, y'all, you don't have to go Katie Gage level deep. If you want to go more like I took the chicken out of the freezer, we take all kinds of messages at Dear World. And so the last thing I would want you to do is feel pressure to have to do something like super weighty when you're feeling like, I'm going to tell a little inside joke about my kids or some of my friends back home. These messages can be about anything that you want. Rooted together is a very big concept, right? So you might find that your rooted together story is actually personal or light in nature, and that is totally fine as well. We take all kinds of stories at Dear World, from the I washed their faces to the I took the chicken out of the freezer. When he says why he wrote this. He says he's a video gamer in high school, and his mom would call home saying, Jamshed, take the chicken out of the freezer. I'm coming home from work. and he'd forget. You hear the keys in the door, and then he'd run in there and try to thaw that frozen bird out. And Jamshed's mom would be like, really? And so we met him on his college graduation. And this was his way of saying, hey, Mom, this time I did what you asked. Yeah, right? This is an Orlando Pulse mother. Her son passed away in the Pulse nightclub shooting. I went to the bedroom and he wasn't there. I want to show you this one also, though, that the chest or the neck is a really interesting place to frame photos as well. Mina Justice. Did you know that the ceiling is the floor upstairs? Which this guy's 7-year-old daughter, he's an architect, and his 7-year-old daughter told him this. And he said, oh my gosh, you're right. I also want to make note on this one that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like 9 words. You can get some longer poses and some longer words. I also love dialogue, right? This is something someone important in his life said. His 7-year-old daughter, who could probably be an incredible architect with that kind of foresight. So, we're going to be back on Wednesday. We create work with you. Just want to say thank you to AACN, to everyone who's made the journey here. Come early to get your photos. We have lots of setups, but it will be a fun line, I promise, but come early to get your photos. We're super excited. I want to share with you where they're going to be. And I also want to shout out, you can't do anything great alone, y'all. You know this. There's a great old saying, if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to be great, you got to do it together. And so Chris Cruz, who's on my team, is our lead photographer, managing all the photo stations, and we made a little video of where the photo stations are.
Hello everyone, my name is Christopher Cruz. I'm the lead photographer from Dear World. We'll be taking portraits today and tomorrow, all day. Come by, take your portraits with us here at the registration center, or here on the 3rd floor. I'm going to be here with a team of wonderful photographers. We're excited to take your portraits. Come on by. It's going to be a blast. Share your story. Connect with your fellow nurses. We hope to see you soon.
Can't wait to hear your stories and see you out on the floor and ask you some of your stories. So thank you so much for giving us the privilege of being here with you and to hear your stories. So thank you so much.
Breathing in and out. This is what it's all